Hi, I am Dr. Pramod Shekaran Nair. Welcome you to my video on Apriori algorithm with R. In this particular video, we're going to see how an a priori algorithm can be executed and analyzed with R. The examples that we're going to use here will be the same example of the previous video of a priori algorithm. And those who have not watched that previous video, please do have watched my previous video on a priori algorithm. So that will give you a continuity on this particular video. Here, first we're going to see the example what it is being used in the previous video. The same example as I told you going to use here too. This is the example we're going to use. Here different transactions are given. The total, there are 9 transactions, and each of those transactions having some items are purchased, and those items are represented as I1, I2, I3, I4, I5, and there are 5 different unique items here, I1, I2, I3, I4 and I5 out in all these 9 transactions together. So here, if you look at once again those different minimum requirement, that's the prerequisite of a priori algorithm to execute. Those are being the minimum support to be known, minimum confidence to be known, and there will be a data set that is already been available. The minimum support is as 2, that means 22%, and minimum confidence is as given 70%. Now we're going to have the same example to be used in our further explanations. So this particular transaction to be created, and we're going to have this to be created in as a CSV file. CSV file in the sense comma separated values file. The comma separated values file, you can have it to be created with Excel. So you can have that's been created like this. I have already created to save the time and kept it here for you. So here if you look at, you can see that we have CSV file available, and in the first row which is being I1, I2, I3, I4, I5, this is nothing other than the item, the unique items names I1, I2, I3, I4, I5, and the rest of those rows that you are going to see here will be the records, means the transactions that is being happened in different times. That is what you're going to have it here in these different transaction is being showing here in our the rest of the rows. So this represented with yes or no. Yes in the sense the item is present, and no in the sense that item is not present. So we're going to have that to be used here in. And if you look at here in the first row, that represent the second row that represent the transactions of those first in your data set. Here you can see that in that the first transaction is being I1, I2, I5. So those I1, I2, I5 we're representing here with yes and no. I1, I2 is present, so we have given it yes, and I3, I4 is not present, so we have given it as no, and I5 is present, we given it as yes. Similarly, we have created all those different transactions here. And after creating it, you have to have this to be saved as CSV file. You can have that to be here in that. While you save it, you have to go for save as, and where you have to select your destination. On those destination, you can have that to be saved, and make sure the save as type you have selected is as CSV comma delimited file type. And just save it. I have already saved it, so that I am not going to have it to be saved once again. And this is the way it has to be. Once you have saved it, it's been ready for accessing it in our R script. Now, what we're going to do is, now we're going to have the RStudio to be loaded into. So RStudio we have already kept here. I have already opened it. And herein I just have all those different codes required to be, or the script required to be written over, again to save the time. So what we have to do is we have to have the first would be as the association rules package to be loaded into your script. For that we can have that library function to be used. Once you have used that library function, you can have that to be called into. So we can have this line, each line to be executed one by one, or we can have this all to be executed together. If we want to have more than one lines to be executed together, we can have that to be selected together like this, and you can have that to be run here in this we have its option here for running. You can have that to be running here just by clicking on that run button, or otherwise you can have your control and enter to be pressed together so that all those together to be executed. So herein I'm going to have that to be executed line by line to give you a better understanding of each of these one by one. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have the library function along with a rules package to be executed just by pressing Control Enter. And it's been loading into, you can have that's been loaded into. Once it's been loaded, you can see it over here in this package. You may go into how that's to be seen here in that package. Yes, here it's been available, has been ticked, you can see. If it is not been available, obviously you have to have that to be installed. Sometimes it may not be available here, then what you have to do is you have to have that to be installed by clicking on this install button. Now, then after you have to call it over here. If it has been available, it would be showing it as ticked. Now, the next thing is what we have to do is we can have the next line to be executed. What the next line would be, we're going to have that read statement to be executed. What exactly it does, it will read those file which we have saved as CSV. And here what I'm doing is, if you look at here, you can see it. I just going to call that file into my script by giving read.csv. This is being the exact position or exact destination where I have saved that file, and I given it that particular location. Then the next thing is being header is equal to true. Header is equal to true in the sense, what I am saying to my script is that I am having the first row. I am having the first row as the names of my columns. So here the names which I have given as I1, I2, I3, I4, I5. That is what I said here in by doing so. Next, what is being there is being column classes. What is that? Column classes I have given as factor. Remember, the Apriori algorithm will work on the factor. Make sure you have it been as factor in that. Here I have that it's been as categorical factor, in the sense categorical, where you're going to have, here we have two different levels, that is being yes and no. So these are the two different values given of those categorical data. Then next is just you can have that to be executed by again pressing Control Enter or by clicking on the run button. I just going to have that been executed here. Now the next thing what I'm doing here is, if I just got it that been executed and the data is been, the file is been available in my supermarket transaction variable. It's been available herein. Now what I'm going to do is I just going to see the summary of that, what is been there in that, just by having that function summary, where I going to have that variable is been where the file is available to be given. So I just executing it. You can see here I1, I2, I3, I4, I4. These are the column names. And where you can see in I1 there are 3 no's and 6 yes, and I2 there are 2 no's and 7 yes, I3 having 3 no's and 6 yes, like that, all of those being showing it as in the summary. And suppose if you want to know the length, that you can have it with the length function, where I just going to have that's been executed, and you can see the 5 is the length. The total number of columns available here is been 5. That's been showing. Then if you want to see the dimension, you can have that dimension also been seen just by having the dim function. Just click on that and just press Control Enter, where you can see that's been executed. This is been saying it as 9 rows and 5 columns. That is what you're seeing there in that. Suppose if you want to see those into your herein, you want to see that here, those file, and to have a checking on whether it is being proper, correct or not, you can have it's been using the view function. Just by click on that view function, you can see that's been loaded over here. This is the file which we have saved as CSV. It's been called here. You can have an analysis on this of any kind of things to be checked. Now what is being the next is I'm going to do. I have in this A rules package you have this a priori function. So this is what the a priori algorithm function, where you're going to have that files to be given over, and the result you're going to keep in the rules. I'm just going to have that to be executed. So you can see that it's been executed. Here in this execution, let us have some analysis to be done over. After the execution, you can see the a priori algorithm is been executed, where it has been executed with the default confidence value as 0.8 and the default support value as 0.1, in the sense 80% and 10%, because we haven't given any of these two parameters at the beginning, so it would go with the default value. That default value is your 0.8 and 0.1. We're going to have it's been, and going to execute it with that. That is what you're going to have to, you are seeing it over here. Now, the next one, another important thing, you can see the different rules that you have got it executed is being total 170 rules. It is generated generated from the file that we have given. So that is what the details being given over here to understand. Now, it is so much of rules, 170 in the sense, so much of rules been there. We don't want to have that to be all those things, seeing it all those things and understanding is difficult for us, so that we go into how it's been reduced into as based on our what is called the prerequisite. Here, the prerequisite is being 22% as well as 70%. I'm going to have that to be given over there, so that you're going to have it's been better understood after having that to be given. So how are you going to have that to be given? You can have that to be given just by having a few a parameter to be added along with that. Earlier we have just given it with that file along with the a priori function as the parameter. Here I'm going to give a parameter where we're going to have in the list as support and confidence being given. As we have said, 0.22, that is 22% I have given as the support of the same, and confidence I have given it as 70%. So let us see what it's going to bring in for us. So I just executed it. Let me have that to be checked here. What has happened there? The rule has been came down to 119 now, and you can see again the confidence that we have given is been changed from the default to 0.7, that is 70%, and you can see the support is being came down to 0.22. I mean, increased to 0.22. Earlier it was as default 0.1. So this is what we're seeing here. In that you can see the minimum length is given as 1 and the maximum length is going as 10. Then again, some more things you can, as I told you, 119 rules it is generated. So now let us see by using, now let us have that rules to be seen once. I am going to have that rules to be looked at. For that we can have that function which has been of inspect rules. I just going to have that inspect rules to be executed, so that you're going to see those rules. Let's see here in this, all those rules you're going to see it over here, and you can have those all rules been seeing here right from the beginning, 1, and it's going up to 119 rules. All those rules are being displayed here. And one another thing you might have noticed here in this, in the right hand side, there is only one item coming in. It's the way this a priori going to execute here. The right hand side as restricted as 1 rules here in R. And now if you go into how some other things to be looked at here, what all been, the support is given, you can see this different support given over here, and confidence also been seeing here, different confidence of different rules, which you can see here in this. Another one new thing that you're going to see is the lift. If the lift is greater than 1, then that rules having some relevance. If the lift is equal to 1, I mean, the rule is the equal to 1 does not having much things to do. It's not having any influence on that. But the lift is less than 1. Obviously, it would be having a negative influence. So we have to concentrate on all those lift values as beyond 1. I mean, more than 1. So that's what important. And then what next is given is been the count. So all those are seeing here. Now, if you closely look at here, one thing you can understand it from here. What is that is being the no is also coming over here along with the item. And one another thing, suppose if you look at here in this is a null set. So what it says, when you have a null set, then there is an item I2 is purchased. No item purchased means then I2 is being purchased. And another thing, here if you look at another null set, if no item purchased means I5 is also not purchased. So there is no sense of that kind of rule. So what we're going to do is we're going to have that to be removed. So to have that to be removed, what I'm going to do is I just going to have a length to be set. The minimum length is being from 1. So if I set it as 2, it's from 2, in the sense the null set will be removed. So I'm going to set it as min length. In the list, min length is as 2, from 2 on, and the rest of those, and the maximum length is taken up to 5. Maximum is been 5. I just set it as 5. So what is going to happen with the rest of all is been same. Here in this case, what will happen? It will remove those null set. Let's see how it's been by executing it. Just running it, then after running it, you can see it is came down to 116. Earlier it was 119. You might be seeing here. So earlier it was 119. Now it's been came down to 116. The null set will be get removed. See how whether it is removed or not. Just by doing that, we have to check it by inspecting the rules by. Now, if you look at that, if you look at here, and you can see that that null is being removed from here in that. Yeah, now there is no null, only those who are having some value or some item is being showing here, or at least no. Now, another thing, again, there are few more problems to be sorted out. First, what it is being, if you look at here, what it says, let us have this one to be taken. What it says, the customer, those who buying I4, item I4, will going to not buy I3. That is also not giving any sense. Similarly, if you look here, if the customer not buying I2 will buy I3. So this is again not giving any sense on this kind of rules. So we have to have those all should be removed where all you going to have your no being present. So what I'm going to do is I just going to have that all to be removed just by having another things being added over here that is being called appearance along with your a priori parameter. What I'm going to do is I just going to have an appearance being given what all to be appeared. So here I just kept it none, where what all being kept it as none. We don't want I1, I2, I3, I4, I5 or no. So I just going to have that to be removed here. So when I going to run this one and go for inspecting it, what I am getting is the one you can see here, it came down to 5 rules, total 5 rules. You can see it came down to 5 rules, rest all been as same, everything has been same. Maximum length is being given as 5, minimum length is given as 2, all those been showing here. And I just kept all those things here. So after having that parameter being given over there in the A rules a priori function, you would see here what is being showing is only of those items with yes, means item is present. That is going to see here. You can see here the confidence is also been given in this. The confidence is as all of this as 1. Here the lift is as above 1. So it is very useful. So that is what you seeing here in this. Now next what I'm going to see is I just going to have, I can have it's been restricted. I want to have only look here. What I did here is, what I have done here is been, you can see here all those things, appearance is being given where none, and I have set an LHS. LHS, what I said is in the LHS I have to have only those who are having I1 is equal to yes or I5 is equal to yes or both of that together. That's what being set here. In I just going to have that to be run. Just have a inspect here. You can see what is being available now is if I1, what I given here, What I have given here is been the LHS. LHS means our left hand side. What is the left hand side? Left hand side is our antecedent. Those antecedent is with I5 or I1 or I1 and 5 together. And the RHS is being I2 is equal to yes. RHS you going to have your consequent. Consequent is being I2 is equal to yes. So what is saying? Those who have purchased I5 will going to have a high chance to purchase I2 also. And those who purchase I1 and I5 together will have a high chance to purchase I2 too. This is what's been done here in this. Now, next one is being, I just going to look here. What is another problem is being, if you look at those support is being, and not with decimal points, it's been given. So the decimal point is how many decimal point? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's too much. So I have to go round it off. So if you want to round it off, I want to have it been rounded off to 3. So if you want to have that to be rounded off to 3, just have this to be executed. Quality function where your rules been given, and round quality rules with digits 3. And just going to have that to be executed. Then I am going to have it's been inspected. So when I do that one, you can see this is been with only 3 after decimal point, 3 digit after decimal point. That's what you're seeing here. Now let us see what the next can be. Suppose if you, after having all these rules you have made, then suppose if you want to have that rules to be written to some file, then we can have that to be written to the file. So these rules, this variable is having all the rules what we have created now, the as last. These are the one, these have been available there in the rules, and so that we can have a write function to be used there, that for writing into. We would be having it with different parameters. One is the rule where that variable, that is the variable where the rules are available, where to write, and separated with comma. That's what it's been shown here. Let me have that to be executed. Let me have that to be executed so that we will see how it is been written into. I just executing that one. After executing it, if you want, you can have that to be checked there. In how it could be checked, you can have that to be checked there in the E drive. I'm just going to have that to be open there in the E drive, so which would be open. I'm just going to have that E drive to be opened. Let it be E. Then here in this E drive, let me have all the files. So here in all file we have data 2. That is where we have written it. So have a look at here in. It's getting opened, so you can see that it's been written over here. This is what we have done. If you expand this, you will get all the rules of that. That's what there are 2 rules which we have written over there. That's what it's been. This is the way you can have it's to be saved. And then suppose if you have then what's next is being, suppose if you want to have the plotting of these rules, how it can be, we can have that package to be called A rules. We have to have A rules visualization package to be called. Then once you have that to be into your script, we can have that to be loaded into a script. Then after that you just go for plot rules. So plot rules will help you for having the rules to be plotted, which is a scatter plot. So that's what you're going to do here in this. Just have Control Enter to press to run that. Once you run this one, you would see that's been getting run. Wait for some minutes, because let it have that to be loaded into. So it would be get loaded here in your plots. Wait for a minute. Yeah, now it's came over here, so you can see by zooming it. If you want, you can have that to be seen by zooming it. Just click on it, so it's been zoomed over. You can have that to be seen here. So here what is all being available is being in your y-axis you have your confidence, and your x-axis you have your support, And if you look at here in this, this is the lift is being something that where it is represented with a color. So what is going to happen here in this is being, you can have, when the lift is high, the color will be high of that. So this is what you're seeing here. We have two rules being there as the last one, where if you look at here, this one is having the lesser support and lesser confidence, but lift is been high. So here if you look at, you can see the support is been high and confidence is also high. It's been showing here as in the red color, the color intensity is more. The meaning is that this is the one which is been having high lift. And another one, if you want to have, it's been, you can have that's to be grouped. So it's based on the grouping. So just have only one is being added into as a parameter, which has been the method other than the previous. So you can have that's to be grouped. You can see it over here. Is have a look at here. You can have that's to be grouped. Once again, let me have that's to be adjusted for you to get the proper visibility. So here again you can see how it's been represented. It's been showing here the size represent the support and the color represents the lift. So here what it says, you have your items in the LHS side and you have your RHS. So this is what those two rules going to be. It's shown here in this, the size in the sense the support is being more in this. That's what you are seeing it here in the grouped metrics for two rules. And another one which you can have is another one where you can have the control list type items. You can have it here in this, the list. In the list you can have the type as items. So if you go with that, you will get another plot. In that plot what it suggests is being, this is the one it's going to be, where you can see what it says is being. If you look here, you can see here it's been another kind of plot. What it says, again, it's been as like, you can see the support size is representing the support and color is being the lift, it shows here. And if you have this one looked at, you would see how it's been here in this. You can have if you look at here in, you have your rules. Let us have that rules been seen once. This is your rules which is written over. Let me go back to that rules which we have available with our last execution. So it's not, let us have that's been executed once again so that you can see that rules once. This is the one which we have done as the last one. This one, let's see here, this one. What we have done is I just going to have that to be executed once again. Otherwise I have to search it down where exactly it came. So I just going to have that to be looked at here. So this is what the rules which is been. What is being is you have your I5 is equal to, yes, that means one item called I5 is purchased, then I2 is also been. Then another is being, let us see that the same one first, then we will look into the other one. So I1 is purchased. What is said here is the, once again look into I5 is purchased, then I2 is also purchased. This is the rule. In the consequent, you have your I2. In the antecedent, you have your I5. Let us see whether it's seeing here. What is saying here in this, if I5 is purchased, I5 is purchased with the support size is being shown here, then you have I2. That's what showing here. I5 is purchased, then you have I2. Then the next one is I1 is purchased, I1 and I5 together purchased, then I2. I1, I5 together purchased, then you have I2. What is being here, you will be seeing I1, I5 together, I1, I5 together with the support is purchased, then I2 is also. This is what's showing. This is another way of representing your graph. That's what it's showing here in this. Now, this is what we have seen as of now. These are the different plots I have shown here. And I hope you might have understood all those different things what we have discussed as of now. And I hope you have enjoyed it too. Thank you so much for listening me.